Where'd all the money go in TCGs? Well, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to Kitchen Table TCG. It is an absolute beautiful day here in West Virginia, and so I figured we'd be outside for the day chatting about where is the money at in all these new TCGs. What's going on? On this channel, we like to talk about plenty of new TCGs, old TCGs, lots of things. Today's gonna be mostly talking about investment, although there is gonna be some conversation of taking some time to actually play these games as well. So there's gonna be a lot of things going on. I want to talk about short-term versus long-term money and what is going on in the TCG world from my perspective. I'm very curious to hear your perspective in the comment section below as well. You know, the short-term money, in my opinion, is gone from Flesh and Blood and Metazoo. I think for a while there was a lot of short-term action. There was a lot of flipping and investing and, you know, quick flipping. I think that money is gone from Flesh and Blood and Metazoo. Anybody who is involved in flipping cards for the short term has moved on to other games. That's it's been very apparent over the markets the last couple weeks, the last couple months. You know, at this point, you're not buying, you know, a $10,000 Heart of Fiendel cold foil because you feel like next week it's going to be worth $20,000. That's not why you're buying it. At this point, you're not buying like a $2,000 full hollow Mothman from Kickstarter because you think next week it's going to be worth $4,000. You know, there's a lot of people who are doing some funky grading things and, you know, buying, but for a raw card, or for, you know, you can double those prices for a PSA 10 or whatever you want to do. But the short-term flipping is just not here. People buying those cards at this point are buying for the long term. So then the question is, where did the short-term money go? Because it's got to be here still. It's got to be around somewhere. And in my opinion, it's going into two key places. Number one is test packs from these Kickstarter games that are popping up that people want to see become the next Metazoo or want to see become the next Flesh and Blood. They want to get in early. And then cryptocurrency. We're not going to talk about cryptocurrency. I know that's a big whole thing, but a lot of the people who I follow on Facebook and Instagram, and a lot of the people who used to be buying cards are buying cryptocurrency, and so that's where some of the money has gone. So let's talk a look about that short-term thing, because everyone wants to get in early. So we're going to focus on the TCG aspect, but everyone wants to get in early. And these test packs and samples, right? In 2020, it was just Flesh and Blood. It's the only new TCG that really existed. It's the only thing that Rudy was talking about. It's the only thing that the community were really talking about. Flesh and Blood had all these really expensive cards and everybody was looking at it and whatever. And in 2020, it was just fad. 2021, Metazoo really came into the picture. I know they came out a little earlier, but like that's when Metazoo really picked up, and it was Metazoo versus Flesh and Blood. It was like this whole, you know, thing. There's all this drama, and that's what existed. And then now in 2022, it's turned into Fab and Metazoo trying to distance themselves from all these new card games that are coming up. And Fab and Metazoo trying to say, hey, we're gonna stand the test of time while as all these new card games come up. And some of those new games are amazing. You've heard me talk about them on the channel. Sorcery and Cryptic and Legions and Genesis. There's amazing games out there that I personally really love. I really enjoy collecting, I really enjoy playing, just like I really love and I enjoy collecting, I enjoy playing Fab and Metazoo and Pokemon, and I don't really play Pokemon, but Magic the Gathering. And it's super fun, and they have an amazing, the key with those games, they have an amazing community behind them that is growing, and you know, it's kind of fun to be a part of. And I think that those games can succeed to a degree. Now, do I think those games are necessarily in the same realm of, are they gonna be the next Pokemon and Magic the Gathering? Not. There can't be 15 Pokemons and 15 Magic the Gatherings. It's just not possible. There's maybe room for one more top TCG, maybe. and it's gonna take a while to see what comes out there. But the money is still there. And some of those games, and not the ones I mentioned, but some of the new games are just hype grabs, right? But the money is there. You see cryptic packs this weekend selling on Whatnot for like $800, and the Discord cryptic packs selling for like $450 to $500 for the test packs. Nearly $1 million raised on Kickstarter this past week. Sorcery raised $4 million in their Kickstarter campaign. The money is going into a lot of these new TCGs. It really is. And it's a lot because people love the artwork, they love the game. It's also a lot because some of that short-term money is there. People want to flip it. People think that it's going to be the next thing, and they want to flip it. You know, Fab and Metazoo have paved the way for new TCGs to be successful. In short term, everyone just wants to get in on that early. So what do you do when all this is happening? Whether you come from Flesh and Blood, or Metazoo, or Pokemon, or Magic the Gathering, or if you just like these new TCGs, what do you do? How do you handle this? Where do you go? And this is where I think there's a couple things I think are really important to keep in mind. Number one, that as a community, the TCG community has to stop being so jealous. You know, I see all the time this kind of battle back and forth between the two TCGs, and there's all this jealousy in the community. And man, if you're involved in just one game because you love it, you don't need to get upset when another game moons or when you miss out on free tendies in another game. You can simply choose to continue to love the game that you claim to love so much for the long term. And this whole like constant jealousy and constant bickering and constant bashing of other games, in my opinion, is just, it makes the TCG community and industry look bad. You should be happy when another game succeeds, because in my opinion that means the TCG world is growing, and a growing TCG world is good for every single game, including Fab and Metazoo and Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh, every single game included. Don't look at those you know, new TCGs as this like thing that's just going to be a fad. I think it can come and go, but in my opinion, new TCGs are here for the next 2 to 3 years. We're going to see a lot more new TCGs coming out, and I have a feeling that this is just the beginning. So, as a member of the TCG community, you who's watching this, you don't have to get all upset when another game goes up and down. If you only want to be involved in one game, that's fine, that's great, do it. Love the game that you're involved in, and maybe don't give so much time to the other games that you're angry about. The other thing is price discovery occurs, and this is the idea. If you take a look at Monarch was a perfect example of this. You know, the prices went way up, and then the supply came in, and then it just kind of kept dropping until it balanced out at this like 160, 165 price point. And that's because price discovery is something that really does exist, especially in times like 2020 where things were really crazy, and early 2021 where the markets and the whole world was just in this mess. You can't just look at all-time highs as like this is where we're gonna be, or this is gonna happen soon. You have to look at those all-time highs and average and take a look at what the market has decided something is worth. Price discovery is going to do its thing as these new games increase and decrease in hype and in size. And so when games skyrocket, don't just assume that that's going to be the price that things land at. They're going to bounce up and down and all around, just like I said, like the cryptic stuff this weekend. There's a ton of hype for it. $400 or $500 packs, $800 packs on Whatnot. And the question is, will that hype continue? I don't know. It might be half that value in 3 weeks. That doesn't mean that it will ever get back to that value. It could be worth 10 times that value. Nobody knows because there hasn't been price discovery yet. And so with this price discovery stuff, what you can't do is always look in the past at the previous highs and compare current prices. Kind of what you have to do is evaluate the market as it stands and the supply on the market and the way that works. So just remember that you're gonna see a lot of price discovery in these new TCGs, especially as you start getting those Kickstarter pledges and they start shipping and people actually get the supply in their hands. You're gonna see a lot of price discovery. Don't miss out on that. Don't FOMO into that, and don't just take a step back and evaluate your own life before you go too hard into things. And then the last two things is, don't forget the blue chip and non-TCGs. All of us, and if you're still watching this, all of us will invest in trading card games. And it's really easy to get interested in all these new games and the hype cycles and getting in early and all that stuff. But I really view Pokemon and Magic as kind of like a same as cash type thing. And there's a lot of really good deals to be had in those games currently, as the entire market is kind of down. So I kind of wouldn't miss out on those. I'm not telling you like I'm not all in on old games, like, but I do kind of diversify my investments into Pokemon and Magic the Gathering. I don't do any Yu-Gi-Oh, but because the risk reward ratio for those games is so minimal, you don't have a whole lot of risk buying into Pokemon or buying into Magic the Gathering at the current prices, you know, in 2022. You do have a lot of risk buying into any new TCG, because new TCGs historically fail. The risk is higher. The reward is also much higher. The risk reward is scaled really, really well. But you got to diversify and downsize your risk sometimes into some of these the older TCGs. So, and then the last thing, take a break. Don't overextend. Don't put yourself out. Don't overdo it. Remember to get outside. Remember to play the games that you're buying. Remember to enjoy the experience, because if you're not enjoying any of this, then what's the point? So those are my thoughts on where the money is in the short-term, long-term stuff. I think there's a lot more conversations to be had about this, but that's a good start. I hope you will leave your comments in the comment section about where you think everything is going. And most importantly, I hope that you have a great day and you remember to be kind to the people around you.